So there I was browsing the internet, like I always do. And one of you guys actually sent me a DM asking me to check out this particular video, which is very interesting. It's an expat that has been living in Germany for a year. And, this expat is American. And what was brought to my attention that made it interesting is that her perspective on America changed quite a bit, and she said some things that not a lot of Americans would say about America after moving to any foreign country. So I wanted to kind of react to that video today, obviously as per the suggestion, and of course out of my own curiosity. If you guys are new to the channel, welcome. Just make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. All my returning viewers, welcome back. Let's go ahead and dive nose deep into this thing and see exactly what she's talking about. Her name is Olivia. The name of the channel is With Olivia. I'll put her link in the description down below. But I kind of wanted to react to this with you guys and talk about what's going on. So let's go ahead and do that.
I have been living in Germany since 2019. When I moved initially, I was not expecting to have the culture shock that I did. I was not expecting for there to be a lot of resistance in myself. I thought that it was going to be easy breezy. I was going to live this cool, like, European lifestyle, ride around on a bike, eat baguettes all day, be cute, all of the things. That was not the case. I was thrown into a culture that was very serious. Not a lot of sugarcoating happens, very direct, just very efficient, and also very...
That's actually what I've heard a lot about. Of course, if you've seen a lot of my reactions in the past, the German culture in general is very direct, very like straightforward and whatnot. There is not a lot of sugarcoating. They don't really care about your feelings. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, as far as like, if the truth is the truth, the truth is the truth is what it is, If you look bad, you look bad. If you don't sing good, you don't sing good. They'll let you know. They will let you know. And, it's pretty interesting. But that's on all elements, too. It's like if your work performance is dog shit, they're going to tell you your work performance is dog shit. Like, it's literally like, how I've been, interpreting the whole aspect of Germany from what I've been watching from other expats and stuff, and talking to Germans in Germany. It's pretty crazy, but that's what it is.
Quiet. I thought, oh my god, I'm in for it. So now that I've been living in Germany, I'm able to really put together German news stuff and also American news and form a new opinion about the United States as an American living outside of the fishbowl, which I like to call it. Now that I live outside of the US, I can see a lot of things a lot more clearly than I did last year. So number one, I am really seeing that there is a really big divide. I think this is very obvious. This is one of the reasons I moved away from the United States to begin with, is this divide that's been happening in the United States has really just grown, and it is so strong. The polarization is so strong, but it's not necessarily the beliefs, I think, that are the full problem. It's the fact that nobody listens to each other.
Yes, thank God somebody said it. So I've been noticing that too. In fact, I think I can even venture to say since 2014, the divide in America has only gotten worse. And I've been asking every person from different countries that I'm in contact with what they think of America now. How do Germans think America is as a country now? Like what is the, and then not just Germans, but Serbian people, Albanian people, Indian people, Korean people. What do they think of America? What does everybody around the world globally think of America? And they have brought up the same point in that, America has become a lot more divided. I say 2014 specifically because I feel like prior to that, for the prior 5 years, America was definitely very I guess I'd say more united, a lot more united. There wasn't as strong of a divide, but I really feel like as media outlets use the divisiveness of certain situations pertaining to police, they decided to, drive a wedge and run a narrative of like a race thing, and made it a lot worse. So where we were making steps to move in a forward thinking direction, a lot of that got shut down, and people are capitalizing off of the divide of America in America, and it sucks. It's really, and it's crazy. It's not just the race thing. It's also political views. It's mainly political views, actually. I've never seen such a divide between political parties ever. I mean, we have Democrats, Republicans, and people like to say liberal, conservative. But I'd say prior 2014, that divide wasn't that bad. I mean, yes, there were like, slightly different views on a lot of major issues. And, some views were definitely a lot different, a lot more than others. But there was a mutual respect for each other that we don't see these days at all. We don't see these days. If you are liberal in your viewership, then apparently you're too sensitive for society and you need to go and man up or woman up and get a tougher, thicker skin. If you are conservative, then you're immediately considered someone who is obviously judging people off the color of their skin. I can't say this term because I'm going to get demonetized. And you obviously are very rude, disrespectful, and you don't care about people's feelings at all. And you are only in the whole political game and to protect yourself and your finances and whatever. So there's a lot of that going on. And it's very unfortunate because when I see other countries, there are multitudes of different perspectives and people are able to talk and discuss these different perspectives like adults. That's something we don't really see that much anymore in America. Not to say that other countries don't have, various divides in other areas. I'm just saying specifically America has gone downhill in that regards. And there's been people moving out of America in droves. Like a lot of people have been leaving America because of how toxic the climate has gotten. It's not a climate anymore where you can cultivate a safe, it's space where you can just talk and not worry about being slandered or attacked for a perspective that you have, a perspective, not even you doing anything, but just having a difference of opinion. It's very unfortunate. But if you guys have seen anything like this, I mean, you can agree with what my points have been over the last, few minutes. Just let me know in the comments down below because she's hitting the hammer on the nail with this one, man.
So something I've learned after living in Germany is that Germans are great listeners and the United States Americans are more talkers. What I think happens is in the United States, from what I see now as an outsider and also having lived in the United States, is that in the United States, you're so focused on making your point and saying it as loud as you can and making it really stand out and stick that you don't ever take the time to step back and listen. And I also think it has to do with pride and with ego. That pride and that ego seems to be really ingrained in US citizens as we grow up. And
I think she is right. I am guilty of this. I am very guilty of this. I feel like whenever I am discussing things with people, I'm very focused on getting my point across and not so much listening to the other side. And that was as of a few years ago. I think I've been more self-aware of this flaw, and I've been trying to work on that as of late. So definitely agree with her. I definitely agree with her because I not only see this within myself, but I've seen it in a lot of people around me and stuff like that. So that's an interesting observation. And come to think of it, a lot of the people I've talked to from Germany are very good listeners. They just sit, listen, then respond. And for me, I have had a habit of interrupting and trying to get my point across. And I guess I do talk a little louder when I'm very excited and stuff. So still working on that. A flaw I will admit I have, but getting better over time.
I think that it's really difficult for us to say, hey, I was wrong. Hey, oops, didn't see that. Hey, oops, that's a new point I've never considered or even thought to consider. Thanks for sharing it. Everybody has an opinion. Everyone has values and beliefs, and sometimes those change, but they can only change if you listen. I think that in the United States, that's something that they really struggle with back home is to really just listen to the other side. That's something that I think is really destroying that community aspect of living in the United States. That American dream of like really being and coming together and being a melting pot is really kind of turning into being water and oil, and aren't mixing, and just a lot of yelling and not a lot of listening. I think that a lot could be solved if people...
You can actually see a lot of this when you look at something as publicized as elections, man. And I mean like preliminary elections with GOP candidates. It's very sad, honestly. I remember I noticed this specifically in like, I'd say 2008, or I'd say 2016 was even more prevalent, but 2008 was interesting. Well, no. I'll take that back. I'd say 2012 and 2016. So 2012, the GOP candidates that were there, right, were kind of all talking all over each other and blah, 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 blah. Obama stood out because, you know, obviously had some really good mannerisms and whatever. So people are like, you know what, this guy's respectful. And even though we don't agree with a lot of some of the things he's saying, at least he carries himself in a very professional light. And, you know, he embodies all of the characteristics that would be something that I feel comfortable supporting as someone who is being the figurehead of the country. Now, over the years, that has changed drastically because people don't give a shiznit what you think, what you feel, whatever. People love to talk all over each other and act a damn fool. And if that's happening at the highest level, where people are literally competing for a presidential seat, then imagine what's happening at smaller levels. It's very interesting. Very interesting.
People were willing to just hold their opinions back for a second. I'm not asking anybody to change any opinions that they have, but if they just held them inside for a second and let somebody talk instead of yell over each other, I think a lot would change. So I think listening is a big problem in the United States. I didn't realize that when I was living there. I started to as I got older and I started to travel, but while I was living there, I thought that that's just how we were. We were loud. We believe in things. It's great to have an opinion. It's great to voice your opinion, but we're never actually taught to listen to opinions. My mom always taught me to listen to others and to see others through a compassionate eye, but I think that as you grow up, you form your own opinions and you form your own way of living, and so it can only go so far. Something that I kind of had to really step back, observe in myself, and then update, basically. The second thing that I think about the United States, and this really carries on from last year, but I'm able to see it a lot more clearly and have more solid examples, is the United States really is lacking education amongst its people. And when I say education, I don't mean math and science. However, that is the case. I think the education is really around what happens from other perspectives. So other world perspectives. When you live in the United States, you are taught world history basically in the sense that you are an American. This is what it means to be American. This is how you should be prideful being an American. This is how America.
Everybody talks about the world wars here, bro. Everybody talks about the world wars. Especially World War II, and they're like, oh, World War II champions all the time, man. I cannot stop hearing it. But like she has mentioned, it's another very accurate statement. The lack of education here is saddening. And the lack of education about worldly events or other worldly perspectives is saddening, because I think we're only looking through one lens and we're putting our blinders on to everyone else in the world, and it's actually shattering relations internationally with other people because we're looking at things from one perspective. And when we make certain statements or certain comments when we travel to other countries, we look dumb, you know what I mean? So very interesting observation from her, because the only experience I've had seeing something very similar was in Korea. I think I've told you guys this story before, but for those who haven't heard it, when I was in Korea, there was an American lady that was very frustrated ordering food from this restaurant, or this is a restaurant, but it was more like a fast food place. And the cashier was, a little frustrated as well. Her English was not the best, but she was trying to speak English, and she's like, "You need to speak American." And I'm like, what? You're in her country. She's Korean. You need to be speaking Korean to her. She's trying to meet you halfway so that she can make things easier on you when you order your food. And it's just that mentality, man. It's very triggering, I guess, and annoying when you see things like that and people's unwillingness to educate themselves and, just see things from a different perspective, because that lady was trying to meet her halfway, and she went out of her way to learn a different language, to make all of the customers that came in, no matter what background, whatever, most customers, I guess, had a fundamental knowledge of English to kind of just make the experience easier. And I'm like, dang, this trickles into other areas too. I'm just using this as a sole example of what I'm talking about, but it's crazy.
This is how America deals with things. These are the events that America has been a part of, how things affect America, but you're never actually taught this is what happened and this is how Japan was affected. For example, Pearl Harbor. I don't know how the Japanese people were affected. I don't know any of the things that changed for them. I don't know anything about that. And so I lack as a student in the United States the education to really to learn that other people have different experiences.
True.
It goes so much deeper than just understanding that. I understand that people are from different backgrounds, they have different socioeconomic statuses, they have different upbringings and beliefs. I understand that, and life doesn't happen to people the same way. But when you're in the United States, you really I really am generalizing, but I really believe that you grow up and you think that the rest of the world operates the way that the United States does.
Yes.
In reaction to the US.
Oh my gosh, yes. Basically, most Americans think that America is the center of attention. And that has very adverse effects on how people behave in other countries or towards other countries because of that, and it's very unfortunate. So like I said, I do see where she's coming from. This is a very good video.
That's not the case. And I think that in the United States, they're really lacking education in that department and also in empathy. We don't ever learn anything about other cultures.
True.
I literally couldn't tell you key figures in Sweden. I couldn't tell you any wild events that happened in the Ukraine.
Wow.
Chernobyl. But maybe, is that even right? I don't even know. So it's stuff like that where I just think there's like a lack of education, and really I think part of my living in Germany now is really catching up to the rest of the world. I learned about the United States. I'm really grateful that I got to have an education and that I got to go to public school and I got to learn all of the things that I did, because I think that it set me up in a really nice way, and I'm very grateful for that. I think it's just all of these different things that I'm really having to relearn as an adult, and I think the only reason that I'm even considering relearning them is because I'm now living in a different country, with a different perspective, and also a different take on education. And so that's something that I really feel America is lacking in, is just really general education. And I know that people are going to be in my comments and say, well, screw you, stay in Germany if you like to live outside of the US so much, we don't need you. That's what I'm talking about. There's not an opportunity to just listen, and I really appreciate it if you're watching my channel right now, because I think that that's the cool thing about the internet, is we're able to connect with each other. And I've watched so many videos about Germans and their experience just in their own country, that now I'm able to say, oh, that's so interesting that this is how people react to them in their own country. And I've also had so many interactions with all of you guys who are from Germany in my comments, and I just start to realize like Germans really listen, and I think that leads way or gives space to someone to change. That's
actually really cool. It's really cool that she sees. She has the eyes. She has the eyes that are like, willing to learn and see things from a different perspective. Because I feel like the fact that so many people don't here in America, it's set us back a lot. It's very unfortunate. And like I said, she's hit every point on the target. Like it's insane. It's definitely insane. The thing is, I feel like a lot of people are just unwilling to learn new things about other cultures. If they have a preconceived notion, that's what they have, and that's that. Like, they're going to run with it. I don't think that there is any leeway, unfortunately, for a lot of people to learn or to strive to go do different things. I feel like a lot of people's perspective, it's like either you agree with me or you're wrong. That's exactly what that mentality is, and that's a crippling mentality. Like you think of that, and your whole approach to life will crumble. Like like when you go through life through different experiences, it'll crumble, because not everything is going to happen to you or in the world to favor your perspective, and it can get a lot of people in some very uncomfortable situations. It's insane. It's very insane. So what she's saying is absolutely correct, and I'm glad we have more people that think like her nowadays. But a lot of those people travel and stuff, and I feel like the old saying that I've heard over the last few years is, get out of your small town, like see the world, explore, so you can expand your mind, have a global perspective, and really see what other places are going through. So it not only allows you to appreciate where you came from a little bit more, but it allows you to appreciate and empathize with other cultures, so you can actually sit down and have an intelligent conversation on very serious topics. I feel like that's very important.
Thing that I want to say, I spend a lot of time thinking, would I ever go back to the United States? I think, of course, course, I'd like to always leave those doors open. Who wouldn't? I'm not silly. I really love the United States in the sense that that's my home country. I'm proud in many, many ways of being from the United States. That doesn't mean that it's perfect, and I'm not going to pretend like the United States is perfect. I don't think Germany is perfect either. I had a lot of resistance when I moved to Germany. But what I am thinking about is what would actually make sense for me, my future family, and I really think that a lot would need to change in the United States for me to really consider going back. I think that people move to the United States again with the American dream in mind, where they have all of these opportunities to then become wealthy and to build, you know, this dream life. I, coming from the United States into a country like Germany, almost have the reverse effect where I feel so grateful, and I wasn't like this when I started. When I came to Germany, I was completely pissed off that nobody had any interest in becoming the richest, having the biggest house, who had the fanciest job title. That used to piss me off. I was so angry about it. And now that I'm here and I've been living here and really just kind of opening up to a new culture, what I'm realizing is that I crave simplicity.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I think that's the biggest thing. I'm going to do another video on, or a video, I haven't done this yet, but a video on the life expectancy in Germany and all the contributing factors of the life expectancy and why it's so high. In Germany, you know, and one of the main things I feel like is the quality of life, right? The quality of life in Germany is huge. It's a big aspect of everything, making sure that you have everything that you need and some of what you want, but the wants, right, in Germany are very like reasonable. It's like, hey, I want to be able to spend time with friends and family. I want to be able to relax and read a book or walk through the park or whatever. Not I want to get a fucking multi-million-dollar mansion and buy like 5 Bugattis and you know swim with dolphins and like it's unrealistic. You know, I feel like there's a lot less pressure to be like a multi-bajillionaire in Germany, but there is a lot of encouragement to just sit and enjoy your life. You know, yes, the work-life balance is actually quite reasonable there, like very, very like, you know, very balanced. America, it's work, squeeze in whatever free time you got wherever you can, but basically work until you drop, you know, and that's unfortunate. But I do like, you know, Germany's perspective on that work-life balance thing, because I feel like it adds a lot of it takes away a lot of stress in people's lives and whatnot. I mean, the whole Sunday being dedicated to a day of rest, we need that here in America, bro. We need that here, bro.
I don't know, just moving to a different country, it humbles you in such a wild way. I think that when I moved here, I had such an ego, the pride, the American thing. And when I moved here, I realized, you know, hey, there's a different way of life, and it doesn't always have to be the Ferraris and the mansions. That's how I feel about the United States in this year. Maybe that will change. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you liked it, please go ahead and like it. Don't forget to share this video or subscribe to my channel.
Subscribe to her channel. Her channel link will be in the description down below. But let me know what you guys think. I think this is a very interesting video, and I'm glad you shared this with me, because it definitely did highlight a lot of things that I feel like a lot of expats don't talk about when they look at the difference between America and Germany. A lot of people in Germany who have traveled to Germany, from what I've seen, they have a little ego, you know, like, oh, America is way better and da 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 da, or whatever. I even did like for a while. I mean, so I still do it for some things, right? But that's changing over time as I'm seeing like the wool has been, unveiled from my face. I'm like, oh gosh, like I see the truth, you know. It's you know, things aren't always perfect, and I knew that they weren't always perfect, but it's becoming a lot more clear to me that there are a lot of things that America needs to work on, you know, to be a place that a lot of people will desire to come to without, getting a lot of repercussions and stuff like that, because that's what's happening now. There's a lot of social repercussions in being here, and that's very unfortunate. But let me know what you guys think. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. I will see you soon. I think this entire video has been recorded like with low volume. I don't know why I left the volume that low, but it's whatever. You guys get it. Take care. Love you guys. Peace.